about this. So what we will be covering in this training is we'll start from the very basics, okay, of SAP, and then we'll focus on what is the role of the SAP basis administrator, what are the concepts, and what are the activities that we do, and what are the different transactions code, what is an SAP system, what are the issues that you can face commonly, and how do you take action on those. We'll try to cover all these chapters, okay, so that at the end of this you have a very good idea of what is SAP, and what are the activities of an SAP basis administrator. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let us start. Since you already have a background on SAP, I suppose we can start from there itself. You know what SAP is. It is a ERP software, enterprise resource planning, which means when a company wants to automate or digitize its entire administration of or and all the processes within that organization, they use an ERP software, and SAP is one of the products in the market for that. There are many products. SAP is one of those. There is also product from IBM. There are products from Oracle, Microsoft. All these companies have their own ERP software, but SAP is a similar software. However, SAP is a market leader. It has more than 75% market leadership. Okay, market share of the ERP market segment is with SAP. So if you want to get into ERP, as an ERP professional, it makes perfect sense to get into SAP. Okay, because you're secure job wise, because for a long, long time SAP is going to be here. Okay. So when we come to how SAP is used in an organization, like every organization, whether it is some private company or some government organization, all these have certain departments. Like if you take, for example, any company, they will have an HR department where they recruit people and they manage their salary, maybe then their appraisals, their hikes, all those things are managed by the HR department, right? So for that, HR needs to have details of all the employees and what are their designations, what are their roles, what are their salaries, who is their manager, who is their reportee. All those kind of informations are kept with the HR department. Similarly, if it is suppose it is a manufacturing company which manufactures automobiles. Okay, if it is an automobile manufacturing company, then what they will have a factory, right? In the factory, if they have to manufacture automobile, first they have to procure the raw materials, which means they have vendors who will provide them the raw materials. They'll purchase it from the vendor. They will store it in a godown, which is known as an inventory. When you store stuff in your warehouses or your godown, that is known as inventory. So there is vendor management, there is inventory management. Then in the factory you do the manufacturing, so you have processes related to that. There is process planning, product planning, manufacturing, material management. All those kind of different departments, different activities are happening, but they are all connected to each other also, right? Because they all work together to make their organization successful. So in the olden days, all these things were managed in book and paper, in files, in cupboards. And if one department had to communicate with the other department, they would have to take that file from one table to the other, get their signature, then move forward, etc. Are you still there? Raghavendra has left the meeting. I think he got disconnected. Okay, you back?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I thought you got bored and left.
No, no, no. Actually, I mistakenly put that some developers link
Okay,
regarding this.
okay. So as I was saying, there are all these various departments which talk to each other, work together to make the business successful. And in olden days, all this used to be done by pushing paper from one table to the other. But nowadays, they have to log into SAP, and they put an entry there. It automatically goes to the other department, and they can put their update, and it goes like that. So it all automated. and well coordinated with less chances of mistakes or communication gap or time wasting, etc. Because of this, the efficiency of the organization improves, and that is how and that is why ERP software is there in the market. Every business is using some software or the other once it becomes a large size company, so that things can be managed better. So that is where ERP software has its utility in every industry. And among all the ERP softwares, like I said, SAP is the market leader. Now, SAP also has different modules depending on each company or each process. Like I mentioned earlier about HR. So there is a HR module in SAP which SAP has developed so that all the HR processes of the organization can be managed there. Then similarly, if if it is if it is for the we earlier talked about production planning or material management. So for all of these processes also there is a separate module. So experts of that particular module, someone who is an expert in material management or in finance and costing. So the experts of those particular modules, they work on that particular module of SAP. Okay, and they are called the functional consultants, because a person who has knowledge of material management, that person will be the consultant. Okay, similarly HR consultant will be there, etc. Then there are these are all known as functional consultants, because these are all functional roles. Okay, these are all business related roles. Apart from that, there are two other type of technical roles. One is the administration of that SAP system, which means taking care of the system, making sure that the system is always up and running. If there are any issues or errors that need to be fixed, then the technical person will come into the picture and solve it. Okay, or if there is any code that needs to be changed, if there is any bug in the software or any bug in any particular program. After all, this is a software. Okay, so it requires programming and coding. So these two roles, that is, one is the administration, the other is the coding or the development, the program or code development. These two roles are the technical modules. These are the technical modules in SAP. So there is a functional module and there is the technical module. Okay, follow me so far?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. I'll just show you. If it is there on the screen and you see it, it's possible that you will remember better. So as I said, there are two types of SAP modules. One is the technical and the other is functional. So in functional, the business processes or the business functions come into this role. That is for example, which is HR, which is material management. Then there is HR. Then there is FICO. Then there is PP, which is production planning. Okay, then there is SD, which is sales and distribution. Every company will have these type of roles, right? Every organization has these things. So that is why all these SAP also has all these functional modules. And similarly, for the administration part, you have for the technical part, you have the administration, you have the administrator, and you have the developer. Okay, so what does administrator do, Raghav?
I think he manages all the SAP application, and I know all like he manage all which functional modules are working, right? That is HR, FICO, PP, HD, and which developer are working on. That he will take control of that.
Yeah, well, basically he does the administration. So if there is an SAP server, right? SAP is a software which runs on a server. Okay, so suppose there is this SAP server on which SAP is installed. It is a software which is installed on this server, and the company has hundreds of employees. Okay, each of these is a different employee. Okay, all of them connect to this server to use that application. So each employee will have a computer or a laptop or whatever, and with that they connect to this server and use the application. So while using, if they face any problem, okay, it could be any problem, but if it is a problem with the server, like for this server crash, suppose something happened and someone shut down the server, then SAP will not be reachable. Then all these people, they will complain, right? So when they complain that this system is not reachable, it is the duty of the administrator to come and check, by what happened, why is it not accessible, what is wrong. That is the administrator. Or if there is some new installation required, if a new SAP system needs to be installed, or if the SAP system needs to be upgraded or patched, like for example, currently you are on patch 20 and SAP released a new patch, right? So patch 21. So that means upgrades. The system needs to be upgraded. So there also the SAP administrator comes into the picture. Okay, so this SAP administrator is what is known as the SAP basis consultant. Okay, and like I said, it is a software after all. So software needs development and coding, etc. That is done by the developer, and developer is the ABAP. The language in which the programming language which SAP uses is ABAP. Okay, there is also SAP also has the ABAP. ABAP is what SAP used to be exclusively before, but now there is also Java also. There is a separate SAP Java server, SAP ABAP server. There are separate, but whatever it is, it could be ABAP or it could be Java. But they both form the developer team, and basis person forms the is the administrator. Okay, so when you say basis or when you say SAP administrator, you mean the SAP basis person. So these are all the functional roles, and ABAP and Java form the developer, and basis is the technical. Basis is the administrator. So and they both form the technical roles. Okay.
Okay.
Now coming to, I showed you earlier. Um, I told you earlier about the SAP server. Okay, there is the SAP server to which all these people connect, right? Um, when I say SAP server, that is also in two parts. Okay, when we say SAP server, there is an SAP actually server on which the application is installed, but there is also another server behind it, which is the database server. Okay, so there is the SAP server and there is a database server. Do you understand what is database or what is database server? Any idea?
I think database server is nothing but the data. I think this all is there. There may be Cardigan, this Oracle, maybe Sybase, DB2. These will come under I think this database. I don't
Correct,
know
correct.
exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, you're correct. Those are the various database products. But what is a database?
I mean, that which stores all the data related to this, all this like finance, production, sales, HR, material management.
Sorry.
I stored the data related to the business.
Correct, correct. So database. Wow, suddenly you gave that. Are you like googling at the same time? Did you Google it just now or what? Because you gave.
No,
Uh,
no, actually.
this is not an interview. You can say, if you don't know, you can say you don't know. Okay. So
No,
you don't
actually,
have to. Yeah.
because I am doing some interview, so just coming in that, right?
Right. Okay. Okay. ठीक है. So anyway, so there are two parts. So database is where all the data is stored. Okay, like for example, this is true not just for SAP but for any software, any platform. It's like that. For even if you take your email, for example, if you have Gmail, okay, keep SAP aside. Just let's talk about Gmail. You log into the server. Sorry, not the server. You go to the Gmail website. You enter your username and password, and you go in, right? So what is happening in that is what you see on your screen, but what is happening in the back is, this is your laptop. Okay, from this laptop you opened your browser and you logged into Gmail, but in the background what you have done, when you go to gmail.com, it is taking you to the Gmail server. This is the application server. Okay, automatically it is connecting there, and that is what throwing you the login screen. When you, as soon as you connect to it, it will come back to you and give you the login screen. There you type in your username and password, and you hit login or you hit enter. That information again goes back to the Gmail server, and what Gmail server will do now is that it will connect to its database. Okay, there will be a database in behind this Gmail server. In the database, it will search for your username, whether whatever username you have entered here, whether it is present there or not, it will check. And if it is present, if it finds that the correct username is there, then it will look for the whether the password is matching. And if password is also matching, if the username password combination is correct, then it will throw the next it will throw the message back to Gmail saying okay, authentication successful. And with that, it will throw the next message to you with the next screen, which is your emails. And for that also, it will again go back to the same database, look for all your emails, and again give it to the Gmail server, and Gmail server gives it to your laptop. And that is how you see it on your all your email on your browser. Okay, so this is true for Gmail. This is true for even whatever other software you use everywhere. Even if you, for example, I'm just think Amazon also. If you go there, you log in first. Login process is same. Then after logging in, you search for some product. Okay, when you hit enter or search on your laptop, it goes back to this Amazon server. Amazon server will go to the database, its database. Okay, it will search for that product, its details, it gives that information back to the Amazon server, and Amazon server gives it to you on your laptop, and it presents you. Similarly, if you're going to any to the IRCTC website to book any ticket, maybe same process over there also. Okay, and exactly the same process happens here in SAP also. Okay, earlier I said there are all these users, hundreds of users in a company. Every user will have their own user ID and password. So they will try to log in here. Okay, from this laptop, they will enter their username and password. That goes to the SAP server. SAP server takes that information back to the database server. Database server does the authentication part, sends back to the SAP server that okay, yeah, username password is correct. And then this SAP server gives you the next screen. Okay, the login screen. After login, whatever is the landing page, it will give that. But if the username password is incorrect, it will tell the SAP server, bhai, login did not work. So accordingly, you will get that message on your screen also, that username password incorrect. Then it will give you another chance to enter the password, etc., etc. But once you do that, if it's correct authentication, the next step whatever you do, again it does the same thing. Let us do that actually. So this is our demo server. Okay, for example, here this is configured already. Okay, whenever you want to access an SAP system, which is a ABAP system, like I said, there are two types of SAP systems. There is an ABAP system. ABAP system, always you will connect through this software known as the SAP GUI or SAP front end or SAP log on. Okay, so in this SAP log on, you have to define the connection. Okay, little while earlier, Harshit had provided me this information. So I configured here that information. I put the username and password. Sorry, I put the application server name, the instance number, and the system name. Every system has its own name. Okay, every SAP system will have a three-character name for itself, which is known as the SID. Okay, system ID, that is SID. So that you differentiate it, so that you know which system you're trying to log into, because there will be different SAP systems. There will be one SAP system for ERP, that is the ECC, which is basically the enterprise resource planning system. Similarly, as you know, you have worked on BW, so there will be a different BW system. Okay, and there could be I mean, there are many different products that SAP has. So every SAP product will have a different server and a different system. So to identify which system you are logging into, you will assign a three character ID to each. What is this three character ID called?
It's system ID.
System ID, which is same as SID. In short, we call it SID. Okay, so there is the SID, there is the instance number. We will understand what is instance number little later. Once we know a little bit more about the SAP architecture, I will explain this to you. And then there is the IP address or host name, which is the actual server. This is a server. Okay, this can be a server on which SAP is installed. So you have a Windows or a Linux server on which you have SAP installed. So this is the IP address of that server. Do you know what is meant by IP address?
I know, but Like I can't explain it.
Ah, okay, fine. Don't Google. So, what IP address is basically on a network. Okay, on a network, every system will have a ID. It's just like this. If you want to go to Google, you type google.com, it takes you there.
Yeah, I think it's just like RFC connection, right?
RFC connection also, no, that is a connection. This is an identification.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, if you want to connect to a particular server, you have to know that, right? If you want to connect to me, you have to call my phone number, for example, right?
Okay.
You have to dial my number, then you will reach me. Similarly, if you want to reach a server, it has a number assigned to it, and that number is the IP number. That is the IP address. So this is the IP address of this server. This IP address will only be there for this server. It's unique in a particular network. This is unique. Okay, no other server name can be anything, but IP address will only be only one IP address can be there for this server. Okay, no other server will have the same IP address. Every server will have its own separate IP address. So the basic command to find the IP address is, I will just open command prompt on my laptop, and I will show you. Um, this is command prompt, basic command prompt. If I want to find out, I just have to type ipconfig in Windows Server. If you do ipconfig, it gives you your IP address. See, IP4, this is my IP address. No other computer or no other server in my network will have this. So if anyone wants to connect to me, they can directly connect to me by this IP address, like that. Or similarly, our training server is installed on this training SAP system is installed on this IP address. So this is the address to connect to that particular server. So you have to provide that. So once I provide this application server name, once I provide the SAP SID and the instance number, and if the connection is fine, then if I double click on it, I will get this window opening up. Okay, I double click on it, it opened up. What exactly happened in the background is that on this laptop, okay, I double clicked on this laptop, this SAP logon pad is installed. What is that? This GUI software is installed, and in this GUI software, this entry is there. I double clicked on it. What it did with this information provided, that is the SID, the IP address, and the instance number, it identified that I have to connect to this server. Okay, so it sent the message to this server, and from that server it automatically got the response back. Since it is up and running over there, the SAP application there is up and running perfectly fine. That is why it threw me through this logon screen to me. This is very exactly same as how you type google.com in your browser. When you type google.com, it goes to the Google server, it sends you back the login screen. It is the same thing, no difference. Okay, and then now it is asking me for username and password. Basically it asks for four things: client, username, password, and language. Uh, uh, what is client? And I will explain to you later when we get to that. Language is basically English. Whatever is the language in which your SAP system is installed, you can mention here. You can set default also. If you saw this client number, we didn't have to specify; it came on its own, right? I didn't have to specify it. If I click on the logon pad, automatically the client number came. Okay, because it has been set in the system that this is the client number, and language is also already by default it is set, so I don't have to put it. But I have to provide the username and password. Every user will have their own username and password. And as you can see, from this laptop I connected here, it is throwing me the login screen, and now I have to type the username and password. I have that username and password. Let me check. Okay. Okay, I'm typing wrong password now. Okay, just to show. I typed the username and now I'm typing the wrong password. It told me what? Name or password is incorrect,
It's
enter, enter.
ECC system, right?
This is an ECC system, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is an IDES ECC system. IDES means
Yeah.
SAP is themselves providing training systems. Okay, dummy system SAP provides. So that is what this is. So, and it is also ECC EHP7 enhancement pack 7, and that is why I think on based on that only they decided the SID EH7. So I typed the wrong password. It says name or password incorrect. What does that mean? What happened in the background is the laptop sent the username and password to the SAP server. SAP server sent that information to the database. Database checked and identified that the combination is incorrect, and it sent the information back to the server, and server sent the message back to me on my screen, which says name or password is incorrect. Okay. Now I will type the correct password and see what happens. Okay, it says number of failed. It even recorded that I had made a wrong attempt. So it is giving me that information, number of failed attempts 1, and then I click OK. It took me in. So this means what? Login is successful. Okay. Again, what does this mean? This time again, I entered the right username password that sent it to the SAP server, that sent it to the database. It did the combination of username password, identified, found that it is correct. Okay. So it sent that information back to SAP server. What did SAP server do? It now knows that what I have to do when authentication is successful. I have to send the first landing page, the home page. So it sent me the home page. Okay, even in the home page, whatever you see here, all these icons, all the text, all these colors, everything, absolutely whatever you see on the screen, all the menu items, everything, everything, absolutely everything is stored in the database. It is taking everything from the database. Okay, from the SAP server is interpreting all that information, but it has to fetch everything from the database and send everything to the laptop. So SAP server has the application. Only the application can do the interaction part between the laptop and the database. All the data is in the database, but the code required to fetch that data from the who is telling the database, okay, this is the information I need, or take this information and give me this information. That is the duty of the SAP server, because that is where the program is. That is the purpose of the program. So that is what is happening here. SAP server communicating with database, database sending the information back to SAP, and SAP sending to us. Okay, and so I have this. So as I said, all this information is coming from where, Raghav?
It's from the database.
Correct. Good. So now we are logged in, everything is looking good. We are at the home page. Okay, so this is the basic how the data flow happens. So it is very important to understand this for SAP basis consultant or an SAP basis administrator. It is very important to understand how the data flow is happening between all the different pieces. That is the laptop, the server, and the database. Okay, so there are 3 tiers here. One is your laptop, second is the SAP server, third is the database server. The 3 tiers or the 3 layers. Okay, so what are the 3 layers? One is your the SAP GUI that is installed on your laptop. This one. Okay, this is where you see everything, right? This is where everything is presented to you. Okay, the application that whatever you have to do, whatever input you have to give, you want to give here. Like if I have to hit a transaction code, I have to do it here. Okay, so this is the where all the presentation happens. So this is known as the presentation layer. All right, the presentation layer has the SAP GUI software, or if it is a Java system, basically